legends over the years. The simplest reason we can give is that it's extremely challenging to explore the ocean floor. From megalodon sharks to being the home of mythical sea monsters, we cannot ignore the intrigue the specific moat in the middle of the sea has sparked. The fact that only 3 manned expeditions made it to the bottom of the trench indicates that we have actually visited the moon more than the deepest part of our own planet. So why is the Mariana Trench so difficult to reach, and what lies within those depths? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, and in today's video we're going to take a dive into a place where the rays of sunlight haven't reached in a billion years, where hot springs and freezing water are separated by a step, and where the bone-crushing pressure can be compared to the moon. We're talking about an underwater realm full of mystery which is 11,000 meters above sea level. We're talking about the Mariana Trench. Around 200 kilometers or 124 miles east of the Mariana Islands of the western North Pacific Ocean is listed as one of the deadliest places on Earth. The water here is colder than 0 degrees Celsius, and to make things worse, it is always dark. The trench is so deep that the intense water pressure renders the existence of life impossible. Talking about pressure, to be exact, with every inch of depth, the pressure of 8 tons per square increases. The water column exerts a severe crushing pressure of 1086 bars, which is roughly 1000 times the atmospheric pressure at sea level. To give you a better perspective, under this pressure, any air-filled cavity in the human body would instantly collapse. While the lungs would collapse, something as strong as bones would crush. But how deep is this trench exactly? To understand this, imagine the highest mountain peak of Mount Everest. The Mariana Trench is way deeper than Mount Everest inverted into the ocean. Needless to say, for a trench that is this deep, the occurrence of weird phenomena is common. There is no doubt that life must be bizarre at such absurdly low altitudes. Talking of life, is there any life at all in these deep dark depths? What dwells in these ultra-deep depths is only now being discovered by mankind. The life that exists in the deep ocean is frequently stranger than fiction. Monothalassemia has been discovered down to a depth of 10.6 kilometers, so at least we know that microbial life thrives even at these absurdly deep depths. But before going into that, let's talk about what the trench really looks like. The trench resembles a crescent-shaped scar in the crust of the Earth. As tectonic plates collide and one plate sinks beneath the Earth into the Earth's mantle, the trench forms as part of a global network of deep troughs cutting across the ocean floor. The Arsing Depression, which is more than 1580 miles long and has a mean width of 43 miles, is named Mariana Trench. Challenger Deep, a smaller steep-walled valley on the floor of the main trench along with southwest of Guam, is the deepest part of the trench. In 2009, the Mariana Trench received the designation of a national monument. It must have been a monumental effort to estimate the depths of a trench this deep. Given the technical difficulties of bringing apparatus to such a remote place and then getting correct data, measuring the deepest point in the Mariana Trench is a very challenging operation. The very first attempt was the Challenger Expedition 1872-76 in 1875, when a sounding of 26,850 feet was recorded close to the southern end of the trench. Narrow Deep, which measures 31,693 feet, was found in 1899 southwest of Guam. But that was until a 32,197-foot hole was discovered 30 years later. The Soviet research vessel Vityaz broke the record by discovering the Challenger Deep at a depth of 36,056 feet in 1957 during the International Geophysical Year. Later, the depth was raised to 36,201 feet, but the real depth is still uncertain. Since then, the Challenger Deep has been measured multiple times with increasingly advanced electronic apparatus. A Japanese expedition recorded a depth of 35,840 in 1984, and a US research team discovered one of 36,070 feet in 2011. In addition, south of Guam and east of Challenger Deep lies another deep hole that was formerly known as HMRG Deep, but was later renamed Sirena Deep. It was first discovered in 1997, and several reports have given its depth as between 34,911 and 35,463. On January 23, 1960, the first voyage to the Mariana Trench's depths began. The French-built US Navy-operated bathyscaphe Trieste conducted a record dive to 35,814 feet in Challenger Deep with US Navy Commander Don Walsh and Swiss ocean engineer Jacques Piccard aboard. Jacques Piccard assisted his father, Auguste Piccard, in designing the bathyscaphe. More than 50 years after Piccard and Walsh, the next person to enter that area did so. On March 26, 2012, Canadian director James Cameron set a new record for the deepest solo descent by piloting the submersible Deep-Sea Challenger, which he had helped construct to a depth of 35,756 feet. But what is most fascinating is that within these harsh environments, the most enigmatic species can be found. Following a thorough series of testing, scientists were able to identify these animals, some of which are incredibly resilient. In these hostile environments, unexpectedly diversified life has been found by recent scientific expeditions. Natasha Gallo, a doctoral student in the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, who has examined video footage from director James Cameron's 2012 expedition into the Mariana Trench, found animals that live in the deepest portion of the trench are able to survive in total darkness and high pressure. Food in Mariana Trench is very constrained because of how far away from the land the deep gorge is. According to Gallo, who spoke to Live Science, terrestrial plant matter seldom makes it to the bottom of the trench, and dead plankton dropping from the topmost descend thousands of feet in order to reach Challenger Deep. Some microorganisms, however, depend on substances like methane or sulfur, while other organisms devour marine life that is lower on the food chain. According to Gallo, the three most prevalent animals in the Mariana Trench's bottom are small sea cucumbers, amphipods, and xenophyrophores. The single-celled xenophyrophores, which resemble enormous amoebas, consume their food by encircling and consuming it. Amphipods are glossy, shrimp-like scavengers that are frequently found in deep-sea trenches. However, because the Mariana Trench experiences extremely high pressure, it is unclear how these creatures manage to survive there. However, Japanese scientists discovered in 2019 that at least one species of Mariana Trench inhabitant uses aluminum that is taken from the salt water to reinforce its shell. Microbial mats were discovered by researchers during Cameron's 2012 trip in the Sirena Deep, which is the region to the east of the Challenger Deep. The hydrogen and methane produced by chemical interactions between salt water and rocks are consumed by these groups of bacteria. A fish that appears to be defenseless is actually one of the top predators in the area. In 2017, researchers said that they had found samples of the unique Mariana snailfish, which dwells at a depth of roughly 26,200 feet. Although the snailfish's tiny, pink and scaleless body hardly seems capable of living in such a harsh environment, researchers noted in a paper published that year in a journal, Zootoxa, that this fish was full of surprises. According to the study's author, the animal appears to be dominant in this habitat because it dives deeper than any other fish and takes advantage of its lack of rivals by consuming a lot of these abundant invertebrate prey that lives in the trench. Some other creatures include Dumbo octopus. The Dumbo octopus is an octopus that has ears that resemble elephants. Its 12-inch body, wiggly eyes and puckered mouth give it a comical image altogether. This is the only octopus that can survive the depths of the trench. It is usually found between 2,987 and 3,962 meters below the sea level. Next up, the deep-sea dragonfish. Just like the Dumbo octopus, the fish does not resemble a regular fish. Instead, it has skin that is slippery and slimy, similar to that of an eel. The dragonfish has a terrifying visage, big teeth, and an overall disgusting appearance. They are typically 6 inches in size and can be found between 213 and 1828 meters under the surface. Like many underwater organisms, they feature bioluminescent body parts. They have an unsettling light because of internal chemicals. With the use of this light, the dragonfish can easily capture its prey once they are close by. Barrel eye fish. Light is the rarest and most valuable item in the ocean's midnight zone. The certainty of surviving in the deep, black waters is having the ability to detect light. This information has influenced the barrel eye fish's evolution. 2 transparent barrel-shaped eyes with light sensitivity are present in the fish's transparent head. The fish can even see the silhouettes of its victims thanks to these upward-facing eyes. Little is known about this intriguing fish among scientists. It was initially retrieved in 1939 from a depth of 762 meters, where it typically occurs. There are only a few of the countless otherworldly, enigmatic animals that we may have found in the Mariana Trench. Let's go over the contents of the Mariana Trench. What lies at the Mariana Trench's bottom is unknown, much like everything else connected to this extraordinary marine depression. In terms of biodiversity, it appears that the Mariana Trench environment is not favorable for life. Extremely high pressure, chilly temperatures, and absolute darkness after the first few meters. The trench can be divided into 3 portions per the US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The first stratum extends from the surface to a depth of around 200 meters. Coral reefs were seen here, as well as in other parts of the Earth, because sunlight may get through this stratum. The second layer extends from the bottom of the first layer to a depth of 600 meters. Along with the animals typical of other ocean regions at the same depth, volcanoes were also discovered here. The Challenger Abyss, the most mysterious area of the pit, is located in the third layer, which connects to the end of the second layer. More than 200 different species of microbes, amphipods, and xenophyrophores can be found. Xenophyrophores are the hardest to study of all of the Mariana Trench species. They are enormous unicellular organisms that resemble sea sponges on the surface and have evolved to exist in harsh environments. Lastly, it should be mentioned that in 2019, plastic remains were discovered at depths that had never been thought possible. This begs the question of just how bad human activity-related pollution can get. Which brings us to the next question: who owns it? The Mariana Trench is more than 5 times longer than the Grand Canyon at 1,580 miles long. The shallow trench is approximately 43 miles wide on average. The US holds jurisdiction over the Mariana Trench because Guam is a US territory and the 15 Northern Mariana Islands are governed by a US Commonwealth. The Mariana Trench Marine National Monument, which is protected marine reserve covering the roughly 195,000 square miles of sea floor and waters surrounding the far-flung islands, was established by former President George W. Bush in 2009. The Mariana Trench, 21 submerged volcanoes, and the vicinity of 3 islands are all included in the monument. What formed the Mariana Trench? The process that takes place in a subduction zone where 2 enormous slabs of oceanic crust known as tectonic plates meet is what produced the Mariana Trench. The Earth's mantle, the layer beneath the crust, is penetrated as one piece of oceanic crust is pushed and pulled beneath another in a subduction zone. A deep trench develops above and bend in the sinking crust where the 2 pieces of crust join. In this instance, the Philippine crust is being bent beneath the Pacific Ocean crust. Where the Pacific crust enters the trench, it is around 180 million years old. Compared to the Pacific plate, the Philippine plate is younger and smaller. Despite how deep the trench is, it is not the location that is closest to the Earth's center. The radius of the poles is approximately 16 miles or 25 kilometers shorter than the radius at the equator because the planet bulges at the equator. Thus, the Challenger Deep is farther from the center of the Earth than some of the seafloor in the Arctic Ocean. More than 8 tons per square inch of crushing water pressure is present on the trench bottom. This is akin to having 50 jumbo planes heaped on top of someone, or more than 1,000 times the pressure of sea level. Is the Mariana Trench home to volcanoes? The crescent-shaped arc of the Mariana Trench is mirrored by a chain of volcanoes that rise above the ocean waves from the Mariana Islands. Numerous bizarre submarine volcanoes are scattered across the islands. For instance, the Ifuku submarine volcano emits liquid carbon dioxide from chimney-like hydrothermal vents. These chimneys are emitting 217 degrees Fahrenheit liquid. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, scientists at the neighboring Daikoku undersea volcano found a pool of molten sulfur 1,345 feet below the ocean surface, something that has never been observed before on Earth. Considering how deep it is evident that not many people have made it depth of the trench, but some daring individuals have made the impossible possible. According to the Deep Sea Challenge website, Cameron's 2012 solo voyage into the trench, the HMS Challenger's 1875 world circumnavigation, which used newly designed sounding equipment, led to the discovery of the trench. HMS Challenger 2 sounded the trench once more in 1951. The trench's deepest section, Challenger Deep, was given that name in honor of the 2 ships. Trieste, a deep boat, became the first crewed vessel to travel to the bottom of Challenger Deep in 1960. Submersible, which was manned by Swiss researchers Jacques Piccard and US Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh, descended 35,797 feet. James Cameron took the helm of the second trip to the Challenger Deep's bottom in 2012. The filmmaker operated the Deep Sea Challenger submersible alone while filming the National Geographic. He dived to a depth of 35,787 feet, just short of the old record. Later, Victor Vescovo, an explorer and entrepreneur, broke the record for the deepest dive into the Challenger Deep in 2019 while operating the DSV limiting factor. He went down 35,853 feet. Today, robotic submersible expeditions into the trench without crew members have added to our understanding of this frontier in the deep ocean. The Japanese unmanned submarine Kaiko collected samples and information from the trench in 1995. the American hybrid remotely operated vehicle Nereus visited the bottom of the Challenger Deep in 2009 and stayed there for 10 hours while filming. The latest is a Spanish expedition called Caledon Oceanics Ring of Fire Expedition Part 2, which gathered mantle rocks with microbial mat from the Mariana Trench's floor in 2021. One way or the other, the Mariana Trench hides some deep secrets that may not be revealed for several years to come. What do you think about the Mariana Trench? Let us know in the comments below. Until then, we'll keep you posted on any other development around the region. With that said, if you liked our video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our